today's video, we'll be looking at creepy and scary TikToks that you should not watch before bed.
Blowing from a gun is a form of execution characterized by tying the victim to the mouth of a cannon, which is then discharged, causing the person's gruesome death.
Oh, wow.
This method has been documented as early as the 16th century and was employed as a means of execution until the 20th century. Portuguese colonialists utilized this method during the 16th and 17th centuries across their empire. The Mughal Empire also employed blowing from a gun as a form of execution throughout the 17th and into the 18th century, particularly targeting rebels. In the Indian subcontinent, the destruction of the body and scattering of the remains over a wide area served a religious purpose, as it prevented Hindus and Muslims from performing the necessary funeral rites. This extended the punishment beyond death for believers, as it denied them the proper rituals associated with their faith. Blowing from a gun exemplifies the extreme severity and cruelty with which capital punishment was
These are videos.
That's one of the most messed up ways to go. Like, dang, a whole cannon? You tied to a cannon and you just sitting there watching the fuse get shorter and shorter and shorter, and you can't do nothing about it.
You need to see before you die. Okay, so did you know when a whale dies, it sometimes falls to the bottom of the ocean floor called a whale fall, and their corpse creates a complex ecosystem for countless deep-sea organisms? Well, the video I'm about to show you is exactly that, which a research submarine discovered, and it shows many organisms enjoying this whale's homemade ecosystem. Here's the video, and it's crazy.
Whale fall. Okay,
yeah, dinner is served.
Oh,
that's not bacterial, man.
No, they are worms. Look at the blubber on the right side.
Yeah. It's not even digested all the way. This is so
Definitely, where food is so limited, I would imagine scavenging is a great strategy. Your food doesn't run away.
So yeah, isn't that video so fascinating? It's crazy to me how life can just end for one, but even after death, they can still...
Is this a prison?
Oh fuck! Oh fucking shit!
In the very last cell, a dark figure can be seen inside. This menacing shadow figure stared back at Josh, sending him running in fear. But the question remains, is this penitentiary haunted, or was this all just a hoax? When living in a secluded house in the middle of the woods, it's very likely to see wildlife from time to time. Well, one man on TikTok saw something on his property that he can't explain. He began documenting his encounters with this strange creature on TikTok. But lately, this creature has gotten too close for comfort.
Get the other side. Oh damn!
Oh, snap, right on top of the
Holy
roof?
shit, alright. Son of a bitch just went on the other side of the house.
After hearing a noise on his roof, he discovered the creature was now on top of his house. This eerie, glowing-eyed being stared down at him before quickly ducking out of view. This bizarre creature doesn't appear to be an animal, but if it's not...
New horror movies that are actually good, Part 64. Mullum, this film is extremely demonic, creepy, and very confusing. If you get anxiety from these types of films, then do not watch it.
Alright, so if you guys didn't know, on August 18th, we are getting a Dead by Daylight inspired Texas Chainsaw Massacre video game. In this game, you're either able to take on the roles of one of the Slaughter family members, or you're able to take on the roles of one of their victims. Now, this game is pretty much like the original movie from 1974. If you're one of the Slaughter family members, you gotta try to snatch up everybody and kill them, or if you're one of the victims, you gotta try to stay out of the family member's reach. If you decide to play as one of the Slaughter family members, you're gonna either be Leatherface, Johnny, Cook, Sissy, or the Hitchhiker. Now, I don't know about you guys, but 9 times out of 10, if I'm a fucking Slaughter family member, I'm gonna be Leatherface, okay? There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. Now, say Texas Chainsaw Massacre isn't your cup of tea. Say you don't want to play that. You want to play something similar to Friday the 13th, but not that. I got you, because sometime this year, I don't know when, but sometime this year, we're supposed to be getting a Killer Clowns from Outer Space video game. You can either play as one of the clowns and use a fucking popcorn bazooka or a cotton candy gun, or you can be one of the victims and get killed by a popcorn bazooka or a candy gun. Either way, both games, they look like they're gonna be fucking bangers, and as a horror movie fan myself,
listen,
Hey, I might have to play that Texas Chainsaw Massacre game. That one looked pretty good, man. Even that clowns one. I'm not really scared of clowns. I know a lot of people are scared of clowns, but it looked pretty fun. So I'm going to get my gaming set up, y'all, and we'll be having some horror games pretty soon.
Normal-looking photos that have a disturbing backstory. Ronaldo Doxa, a politician in the Philippines, took a picture of his family right before he was assassinated on New Year's Day in 2011. The man in the back shot him twice while his family was forced to watch. The man holding the puppy is Yukio Araki, a kamikaze pilot who just one day later would crash into the USS Brian, killing 66 of the crew members and taking his own life. Yukio was only 17 years old, knowing completely well that he'd be going to his death the next day. The smiling man in this photo is Nazi Joseph Goebbels, who is in a 1933 League of Nations meeting, and in the next photo, his expression completely changes. His expression changes from cheerful to hatred because someone told him that the photographer was of Jewish descent. This seemingly normal photo shows three men in judo attire. The man on the right, however, is Osama bin Laden, the terrorist responsible for the 9/11 attacks on New York City.
That's Osama?
The girl wearing the veil is Elizabeth Smart, who was kidnapped for 9 months by the man on the far right. This photo was taken at a party the kidnapper crashed with Elizabeth, and she was forced to wear this veil at all times to keep her from being recognized in public.
The term four horses, or disruption, involves using four horses to pull a person's arms and legs in opposite directions.
Yo, they had something like this in Narcos. I think it was like the 3rd season or something like that, man. And they was tying these dudes to like motorcycles. Just like that, stretched out. Man, I would hate to, be in any of these torturous situations.
Resulting in their limbs being torn off. During the Renaissance and early modern period, regicide, the killing of a monarch, was considered one of the most heinous crimes. The four horses was reserved for this crime. Francois Ravaillac saw himself as a divine instrument and believed that by killing King Henry IV, he was fulfilling a divine mission to save France from heresy. However, his act of regicide was widely condemned, and he was subjected to a gruesome execution. Before being drawn and quartered, he was scalded with burning sulfur, molten lead and boiling oil and resin, and his flesh was torn by pincers. Finally, he was tied to horses and dismembered. Similarly, Mikhail Piekarski's attempt to assassinate King Sigismund III of Poland was motivated by religious and political reasons. His failed attempt to kill the king resulted in his conviction for attempted regicide, and he was sentenced to a brutal execution. His body was slowly torn apart with heated ply.
If you've seen the movie Hell House LLC, then you'll recognize this building. This is the real Hell House. It's a real haunted house attraction, and it's really supposed to be haunted. We spent the night in this building alone, and the video's gonna be on my YouTube.
Hello. I ordered a can of Sprite from the dark web. Let's unbox this and see what we got. Okay, let's go. A tough package. Okay, we got our Sprite. It's still wrapped in some kind of label. Let's get it off. Sticky. Okay, it hasn't been opened. It looks legit. It looks like it hasn't been messed with. Also, why does Sprite taste like TV static? The can looks all good to me. Low calories. But something is always sus when ordering from the dark web. Let's have a look inside. Okay, it's weird. Let's pour it out. Oh no. What is this?
Oh, what is this?
This isn't Sprite. Sprite is supposed to look like chewy water, not this red water. It's a pretty heavy liquid. Is this Sprite cranberry? It's kinda warm. How did this get in there? Why is Sprite such a cursed drink? Soda pop diddly.
This is how a 48-year-old murder mystery was finally solved. Nearly 50 years ago, remains of an unknown woman were found in an Ontario river. In 1975, the woman was simply known as Nation River Lady. Not only was her true identity finally revealed, but the man who we believe is responsible has been arrested. Jewel Langford was 48 years old when she passed away. A DNA profile of her was eventually used to try and find family matches. Luckily, scientists were able to find 2 DNA matches. Now, this is believed to be the first case in Canada where forensic genealogy has been used to identify human remains. In April 1975, Jewel was reported missing by her family when she failed to return home. Tragically, she was found floating in the river and had been strangled by a television cable. 81-year-old Rodney Nichols from Florida has been arrested. He's charged with murder and...
This is straight out of a horror movie. These are the final messages between the Titan sub and the ship on top. So they started the descent around 7:58, and things started going wrong around 9:30. Before that, everything was chill. We're noting an alarm from the RTM. Reducing velocity descent depth, 3433. Understood. Do you need to ascend? No change with thrust. The rate of descent is increasing at 35. Going to release the ballast now. Yes, agree. Release the ballast. No improvement. Preparing to jettison the frame. Affirmative. Update when able. RTM indicator status? Frame jettison, multiple attempts needed, but starting the ascent now. Multiple attempts? What is your status? RTM indicators? Depth? 1 minute later. Update please when able. Crackling sound at AFT. Can you identify the source? RTM indicator status? Negative. RTM status? Trying to run diagnostics. Ascending now, but very slow. Sounds have subsided. Global RTM alert active, all red. Understood. Any codes? Depth? Ascent rate? Update when able, please. Slow ascent in progress. Quarter predicted. Unclear why rate is so small. No indicator. At 3476. We are talking it over with the engineer. Stand by. Depth and status, please. What's the wattage on upwards thrust? Reading red on the A power bus. I switch to B. At 3457 meters, more sounds AFT. Okay, now here's where they lose signal. Understood. Continue ascent. Talking to Carlos about power situation right now. Activating recovery procedures. Carlos is requesting wattage output from bus B. Status update, please. Velocity of ascent? We're not receiving you. Update, please. Status and depth report. We need you to respond with the status and depth. Carlos is requesting wattage update on thrusters. We are unable to read you. We are moving to recovery coordinates. Report if you read. Please respond if you're able. Literally terrifying. I can't imagine. Like, that's so scary. Also, my old Instagram was hacked and sold to a magazine company, so this is my new one.
I gave AIDS and hepatitis B to all my patients because I did not clean my equipment. I'm Scott Harrington, an experienced and renowned dentist. Throughout my career, I've treated thousands of patients and gained expertise in the field of dentistry. However, in 2013, my professional life took a devastating turn. Health authorities inspected my dental practice after a patient was diagnosed with hepatitis C. Shockingly, their investigation revealed multiple violations of hygiene and infection control standards within my office. I was accused of endangering the health of my patients by using unsterilized instruments, performing unsafe procedures, and employing staff who lacked proper training in hygiene practices. Consequently, thousands of patients were urged to undergo screenings for hepatitis B, hepatitis C, and HIV. This scandal led to the temporary suspension of my dental license and a lawsuit for medical negligence. I was profoundly disturbed and taken aback by these allegations, as I never intended to cause harm to my patients. After a lengthy legal battle, I eventually managed to regain my dental license and reopen my practice. If you're in need of dental care, don't hesitate to visit me. I'm here to help with all your oral health needs.
One of you guys sent me a very scary Ouija board story, and I am so excited to share it. So the story comes from a follower by the name of Taylor, and it occurred when they were 12 to 13 years old. So when Taylor was around 12 to 13, they and their mom moved into their grandparents' house when their parents split. Pretty soon after they moved in, some weird things started happening in the house. Weird things such as hearing movement in the kitchen, walking by and no one being in there but all of the cabinets being open. Taylor eventually went to their grandma and was like, stuff is happening in your house. Are you experiencing this too? Taylor's grandma then explained that long ago someone in their family had played a Ouija board and did not properly say goodbye, or say goodbye at all. And ever since then, that house has been extremely haunted because they didn't close that portal. 5 months go by and things are getting increasingly worse for Taylor. They were having nightmares so dark that when they shared it with their mom, the mom considered taking them to the hospital. They would see shadow figures running around from room to room that would look like people, would look like dogs, would look like birds. They considered moving at one point because things just got so bad. But here's when things got the worst. So Taylor was sitting in bed with the lights off and looks in the corner and notices a shadowy figure standing there staring. Taylor described the feeling that she got from this thing as anything but human. Taylor started to pray and hope that it would go away, but instead it charged and then quickly disappeared mid-charge. The next morning, Taylor would find 3 scratches down her arm that were not there before. After that, they decided to have a medium come and look at the house, bless it, and just try to help things out. The medium informed them that there were portals opened by the Ouija board that would never ever close completely.
Never.
The medium was also able to tell Taylor the exact experience that they had had in their bedroom where the shadow was staring at them without being told at all. The medium said that it was an attachment to Taylor and helped get rid of it. The hauntings are still going on. They have the house cleansed and blessed, but it always comes back. And that was the end of the story. That is terrifying. I'm telling y'all, I know I'm never gonna tell anyone to never use a Ouija board, but I cannot stress.
I'm gonna tell you, don't use a Ouija board. Man, what? I ain't messing with no Ouija boards, and y'all shouldn't either. Mom checks her son's cell phone and finds this. Yo.
Baba Yaga is a supernatural creature from Slavic folklore.
Was that Baba Yaga?
She is typically depicted as an old, ugly witch with iron teeth and a long, hooked nose who lives in a hut deep in the forest. Baba Yaga is a complex character, sometimes benevolent and sometimes malevolent. Her stories have been passed down through generations and have evolved over time. The first written account of Baba Yaga appears in the 18th century in the collection of folk tales compiled by the Russian writer Afanasyev. However, Baba Yaga is believed to have existed in Slavic mythology long before this. Baba Yaga is often associated with the natural world and is said to have control over the elements. She is also associated with death and the afterlife. In some stories, Baba Yaga is a guardian of the forest who helps those who show her respect and wisdom. In other stories, she is a dangerous and malevolent creature who lures people to her hut to eat them. One of the most famous stories featuring Baba Yaga is the Russian fairy tale, Vasilisa the Beautiful. In this story, Vasilisa is sent to Baba Yaga's hut to get fire for her stepmother. Baba Yaga gives Vasilisa impossible tasks to complete, but ultimately helps her and gives her a magical doll to help her on her journey. Baba Yaga has become a popular figure in literature and art, appearing in works by authors such as Nikolai Gogol and Marina Warner, and in films such as Hellboy and John Wick Chapter 2. Today, Baba Yaga remains a prominent figure in Slavic folklore.
Did not know that.
These are videos humans were never meant to see. Okay, so we all remember this viral video of a girl on a plane completely freaking out saying she wants to get off because the person she just saw wasn't human. But what if I told you some guy just did the same exact thing a couple days ago? Just watch this video and let's talk about it.
Try to open
So
the
yeah,
door?
that guy claims that he saw a shapeshifter on the plane, and he instantly got up freaking out and tried to open the plane door while they're in the air. This video is absolutely insane, and what's going on recently with all these videos of people on planes seeing shapeshifters and things that
all of the main...
Yo, truly, what is up with that, right? Everyone seeing these same people on a plane, it makes me not even want to fly on a plane. This dude was finna open the door mid-flight. I would have tackled him too, not gonna lie. Hey, you gotta come to the ground, G. I don't know what you seen, but we finna wait until we land this plane first.
traps in Saw 5 are possible to survive. Let's go through it. We have the necktie trap at the beginning of the movie. Each of the 5 participants are wearing these collars around their necks that are pulling them to the wall, and if they get pulled all the way to the wall, their heads are going to get decapitated. All they need to do is go across the room, break these boxes, get their keys, and unlock their collars. If they all worked together, the keys would have fit for every single person's collar, so they could have just passed one key around. Then the second room, we have the nail booms and then these sewer tunnels. There's 4 of them left at this point and only 3 tunnels. They don't realize that more than one person could just fit in the tunnel to save themselves from the inevitable explosion. So they end up losing another person in this room as well. Then we get to the electrical bathtub circuit, where in order to get out of the room before a boom goes off, they have to pass the circuit from one side of the room to another through this bathtub. They end up unaliving one of the girls, throwing her in the bathtub, and crossing the circuit over her body. But if all 5 of them had been alive, allegedly they could have all just suffered a small shock and survived. That's definitely debatable, but whatever. And then finally, the 10 pints of sacrifice. If they had 5 people giving up 10 pints...
The mancuerda involved tightly winding a cord around the arms of the victim. The executioner would then apply pressure either by throwing his entire weight backward or by utilizing a lever, thereby exacerbating the agony inflicted. The tightly wound cord, aided by the force exerted, would cut through the victim's skin and muscles, causing deep lacerations that reached the bone. The excruciating pain was further intensified due to the stretching of the victim's body, reminiscent of a rack, and the use of a belt or girdle attached to their waist. According to historical accounts, there is a story that suggests Giovanni II Bentivoglio, the tyrant of Bologna, resorted to the mancuerda torture method to punish the astrologer Luca Gorico. It is important to note that this account is based on historical claims and may not be entirely verifiable. However, the story goes that Bentivoglio was dissatisfied with a prediction made by Gorico, leading him to subject the astrologer to this brutal form of torture.
These are the most disturbing torture devices I saw at the Torture Museum in Amsterdam. This device is called the garrote, and again when I first saw it, it really didn't seem that bad. But then I found out why it's actually been called the harshest execution method of all time. The garrote was used during medieval times, and even later all around the world for punishment, execution, and even as a tool for assassinations. The most recent case I found happened less than 50 years ago in Spain. So how does this device work? The victim is held in place by a collar that's made of iron here but can also be made with wires. It's then tightened all the way, the spike piercing through the victim, supposedly crushing their brainstem. But it didn't always work, because the spike would often miss the brainstem, so it would just be buried in the victim's head until they passed, which allegedly could take over 15 minutes. But we're not done, because there's just a few more torture devices I saw in this museum, so follow to hear all their backstories.
This comment is in reference to this book that I was just reading, Playground. For those not in the know, the movie is basically about these kids that are all experimenting on this playground, but the playground is designed to unalive them. In like Saw trap fashion, unalive them. I can't speak for everyone, but I've been reading and watching horror ever since I was a very young kid. Like my first horror film ever, I was 3 years old, and I started reading adult horror novels as early as the 4th grade. And most of the horror that I consumed book-wise was from a child's perspective. Lots of Stephen King books are written this way, actually, because to me that felt more real. It felt way more relatable than horrors that was with adults. And even now, as an adult, you sympathize with children so much more in horror novels because everybody knows what it's like to be a kid. Everybody remembers what it was like to be that innocent and to have so much ahead of you. So I think the reason why a lot of horror is centered around kids like this is because it's real. It has a lot of heart.
The weirdest thing...
You know, they make a lot of horror stuff nowadays. A lot of kids games or horror games. Probably your kid's most like YouTuber does horror games. I'm just saying. So I don't know what it is right now. You know, they even got a game, Garden of Ban. It's about a kindergarten or some stuff like that, which is crazy with evil monsters. and you might have your 3-year-old running around talking about some crazy stuff.
Is ever sold on the internet, part 1. Firstly, Scarlett Johansson made an appearance on The Tonight Show in 2008 where she blew her nose into a tissue. She then put this used tissue in a bag, signed it, and then listed it on eBay. The auction went viral and the tissue sold for a whopping $5,300. In 2008, two sisters from Virginia, Melissa and Emily, discovered a cornflake that was shaped exactly like the state of Illinois. They put the cornflake up on eBay, and after an intense bidding process, Monty Kerr, the owner of TriviaMania.com, purchased the cornflake for $1,350. And in 2006, a man from Australia listed the entire country of New Zealand for sale on eBay. The listing started at 1 cent, but after 6,000 views and 22 bids, the price rose to $3,000. However, before the sale went through, eBay intervened and took down the auction.
Have you ever heard of the Japanese urban legend of the kitsune? Kitsune is a legendary creature in Japanese folklore. They are known for their shape-shifting abilities, intelligence, and magical powers. They are often depicted as foxes with multiple tails, with the number of tails representing their age and power. In Japanese folklore, kitsune are believed to possess great wisdom and supernatural abilities. They are associated with the element of fire and are considered messengers and servants of the Shinto deity Ingri, who is often depicted with foxes. Kitsune are seen as the guardians of Inari shrines and are believed to bring good fortune, fertility, and protection to those who honor and respect them. One of the most well-known aspects of kitsune is their ability to shapeshift. They can transform into various forms, most commonly into beautiful women, but they can also take the appearance of other animals or objects. Kitsune use their transformative powers for a variety of purposes, such as playing tricks on humans, testing their character, or seducing them. Kitsune are known for their mischievous nature and intelligence. They are skilled tricksters and illusionists, capable of creating powerful illusions to deceive and confuse their targets. They are often portrayed as cunning, sly, and clever creatures. There are different types of kitsune in Japanese folklore, each associated with different characteristics or powers. For example, the Zenko are benevolent fox spirits associated with Ingri and bring good fortune, while the Yako are mischievous and sometimes malevolent spirits that enjoy playing pranks on humans. Overall, kitsune are fascinating creatures deeply rooted in Japanese folklore, representing a blend of supernatural abilities, wisdom, and mischief. Their enduring popularity is a testament to their rich mythology and their ability to captivate.
Shiloh Dynasty is one of the most impactful artists of our generation, but she has completely vanished from the face of the earth. So Shiloh Dynasty is known for creating some of the most impactful music of our generation. So let me just play you a couple of songs. This song is Shiloh Dynasty. I love this song. Also this song.
Y'all ever knew who Shiloh Dynasty was? I never knew. I just, I know the extensions. Is it extension or extentation? I don't know. But yes, I mess with extensions or extentations music. So I knew what the songs were, but I never knew who Shiloh Dynasty was. And there's some crazy music playing in the background of some of these TikToks, so that's just because of certain copyright issues. So bear with me.
And stabbed her 19 times in an attempt to appease the Slenderman. The girls took off, traveling 5 miles on foot, and when the police eventually found them, they were both calm and collected. They explained that Slenderman made them do it. They said that they were told by the Slenderman that they had to kill someone in order to be worthy of living alongside him, and if they failed, their entire family would be killed. Thankfully, Peyton actually survived the attack after crawling to an open patch of grass and being spotted by a bicyclist. The kitchen knife used to stab her only missed her heart by a millimeter, so the doctor said she was a millimeter away from death. Wisconsin law states that an individual over the age of 10 can be tried as an adult in attempted murder cases. Both girls initially pled not guilty due to mental illness and took a plea deal to avoid prison. Morgan, who was the one that did the stabbing, received 40 years in a mental institution and was diagnosed with schizophrenia. She is currently on her second conditional release request, with her next hearing being August 28th of this year, when the judge will decide if she's ready to be released. Anissa, who planned the attempted murder, received 25 years in a mental institution but walked free in September of 2021.
What? Yo, check it out. She walked free. She probably out here doing other things for Slenderman now. Like, man, it's just crazy how, you know, certain people can get away with certain things. But back to what I was saying earlier about the horror stuff with our children, right? My children knew who Slenderman was before I even knew who Slenderman was, off of a children's video game. So, I don't know, man. Y'all got to be careful out here.
City, in any country in the world, go to any mental institution or hospital and tell the attendant that you wish to see the holder of the anvil. A moment, an hour, an eon will pass as you see the world's every failure reflected in his eyes. You will see the ending of things. Daughters tearing strips of flesh from their mothers with hooks of steel and bone. Fathers feasting on the eyes of their sons, and you will know that you have given them their torment. Their anguish will be your own, and the only way to escape is to let your cry join theirs. But give no sign that you know this, or the attendant will turn away, and all hope with him. An eon, an hour, a moment will pass, and the attendant will drop his eyes in defeat, turn, and open the door behind him. Follow him with care. He is treacherous, and will leave you in dark places where your screams will never be heard, your bones never found. At the end of this path, when the skulls of infants crunch beneath your feet, you will find a young man chained to a ragged iron slab. Your guide will turn and offer you a hammer in one hand, a blade in the other. If you take the blade, you will abandon your search, and you should beg for a quick end. It will not be given. You should take the hammer, and when you do, drive it into the young man's head with all the strength you have and more. Although he is innocent, allow no mercy, for mercy has abandoned you. Cover the skulls at your feet in the gore and the blood. When their debt has been paid, you will be delivered back to your world outside of the asylum. The hammer will still be in your hand. The blood will never wash off. Its thirst has been satisfied for now. That hammer is object 53 of 538. It will only be used once more, to split the world and find the secret heart that beats within. Pray that yours will not be the hand.
A woman on TikTok.
That's some creepy stuff. Like, what's he telling us to do? I'm not going to a mental asylum, and I'm not saying I want to speak to anybody there. So, I don't know. Y'all can do that if y'all want. If y'all want to have Thor's hammer, y'all go ahead and y'all can have that blood on your hands, but not me.
Who had relationships with inmates. This is Tina Gonzalez. She was a prison guard at the Fresno County Jail in California, but in 2021, she was arrested. It turned out she'd been having relations with many prisoners in the jail. She would sneak in contraband for many of her lovers, and became rather famous in prison for doing what she did. Tina would also warn her lovers of upcoming searches of their cells. Tina was sentenced to 210 days behind bars and 2 years of probation. This is Vicky White, a prison guard from Alabama. While at work, she fell in love with a murderer and inmate named Casey White. One day, she helped Casey escape. They used a police car to get away, resulting in a massive police chase. Eventually, they crashed their car. Casey White was taken back to prison, but Vicky sadly passed away. This is Nancy Gonzalez. She was a guard at a New York prison. That's where she met Ronell Wilson. Ronell Wilson was behind bars for ending the lives of 2 undercover cops. Eventually, Nancy became pregnant with Ronell's child. Nancy was arrested and sentenced to 1 year behind bars, but she went on to give birth.
The Divine Order of the Royal Arms of the Great 11, or the Blackburn Colt,
May Otis Blackburn, declared herself the High Priestess. May described the key elements of the new religion to her followers. She believed the fourth dimension was regulated by the Tree of Life, and this tree would allow everyone to achieve eternal life. But this tree was damaged by Adam and Eve when they took the forbidden fruit, so the cycle of eternity was broken, and she was the only one who could fix it. Once the tree healed, then a divine royal order would form, and this would be the royal arms of the Great 11, which would be 11 women, including May, and all of them would become the superhuman rulers of the universe. After the apocalypse, they would all perish, but the Tree of Life would resurrect them from the dead. Then they would be granted huge marble palaces in Hollywood, where they would live, and each of the 11 women would also have 11 husbands each. Wow, it's just shocking to think people could fall for this.
Right? No one's gonna die, the end of the world's coming, but everyone's getting 11 husbands too.
Yeah, in a mansion in Hollywood.
Yeah, right.
Because after the apocalypse, Hollywood will still be there.
My Haunted Hotel is a 400-year-old haunted attraction which earned the title of the UK's most haunted hotel. The building was constructed in 1622 and now opens its doors to guests who are brave enough to spend the night. 16 cameras are scattered throughout the building, and just recently, they managed to catch something chilling.
Let me know if y'all see anything. That was outside, right?
A ghostly apparition quickly darted past the window. This entity appeared to be glowing as it moved from right to left. It's also worth noting that this is a second-story window, so it's not possible for anyone to simply walk by. The owners of the hotel are stumped and can't explain what was caught, leading them to believe that this is proof of the many spirits that...
The Mars rover Opportunity had the saddest last words I have ever heard. She was supposed to survive for just 90 days on the Red Planet, but using her solar panels, she traveled 28 miles across the Martian surface over 14 years. Then one fateful day, as a Martian storm descended on the rover and the skies were choked of all sunlight, the solar-powered Opportunity messaged home, saying, "My battery is low and it's getting dark."
That's Wally.
A woman named Jen purchased an old farm property and soon found out that it was extremely haunted. Her new home became a hotspot for paranormal activity, and a dark being began to appear around the property.
Oh, snap.
Oh my God, what the
You seen that? Something up there.
In the upstairs window, a shadow figure quickly walked by. This dark, ominous figure filled Jen with fear, leaving her frozen in place. Until this day, she has no idea who or what this was.
Would y'all go in that house after seeing that?
On a TikTok account that no longer exists, a video was posted of what appears to be a haunted doll. One day, while a young girl was recording herself playing with her favorite doll, nothing seemed out of the ordinary, until suddenly the young girl hears something that caught her attention. Then this happened.
So, Kiliana, what?
Oh, snap. Them dolls is something else.
As soon as the young girl looked to her left, the doll can be seen turning its head to look at her. The girl immediately noticed this and quickly ran to tell her mom. This slight movement is chilling, as there's no denying that something caused this doll's head to move. Well, after this discovery, they might as well toss that thing in a blender.
Straight up, don't put no dolls in my house because it be spirits in them.
The military is indeed aware of UFOs. On August 15th, 1950, Nick Mariana, the general manager of the minor league baseball team Rest Falls Electric, and his secretary, Virginia Ronig, were conducting a stadium inspection before a game. During their observation, Mariana noticed a bright flash and suddenly witnessed two bright silvery rotating objects flying by. Reacting quickly, Mariana grabbed his 16mm movie camera from his car and captured 16 seconds of footage of the UFOs. This film was publicly shown and received significant acclaim as the first ever recorded footage of UFOs. However, when the military became aware of the film, Mariana was convinced to hand it over for examination. Unfortunately, upon its return, the military dismissed the footage as reflections of a fighter jet, and 35 frames that clearly depicted rotating disc-shaped UFOs were missing. The absence of this crucial footage was corroborated by individuals from the public who had viewed the original film, leading to widespread speculation about potential hidden motives or information being withheld by the military. This incident has raised questions and fueled curiosity about what the military may be concealing regarding UFOs.
There's a theory that in Spider-Man No Way Home, Andrew Garfield's character, he stopped a canon event from happening. Remember when Tom Holland and Zendaya were on the Eiffel Tower? Or not the Eiffel Tower, sorry.
Yo, I never really thought about this, man. Look, I don't know if you guys have seen Spider-Man Across the Universe. That's probably my favorite movie of this year. Probably my favorite animated movie of all time. Not gonna lie. But they were talking about these canon events. Now it makes sense. Y'all just gotta watch it.
The Statue of Liberty? Zendaya fell from the Statue of Liberty, ready to die, just like all the other canon events of each Spider-Man when Gwen Stacy falls and dies, right? Just like that's what happened in Into the Spider-Verse 2, where they can't stop a canon event from happening, or else it will fuck the whole timeline and that has to just destroy the universe. Andrew Garfield, not being from Tom Holland's universe, saved Zendaya, stopping the canon event, and he probably fucked up the timeline. It makes sense now because Into the Spider-Verse 2 came out. They talk about canon events.
So if that never happened, there would probably not even be another movie type shit.
Or like something crazy is gonna happen now. Something crazy is gonna happen now.
Yeah, I can't wait for the next movie to come out.
Have you ever heard of the Filipino urban legend of the dancing ballerina? The legend of the dancing ballerina is a popular urban legend in the Philippines. According to the story, there is a haunted ballerina figurine that is believed to have a mysterious and supernatural ability to move and dance on its own. The ballerina figurine is exquisitely crafted, with delicate features and a captivating presence. It is said to possess an enchantment or curse that allows it to come to life and perform graceful ballet moves when no one is watching. The legend typically revolves around an old antique shop or a collector's home where the ballerina figurine is displayed. Witnesses claim to have seen the ballerina moving or twirling by itself, sometimes accompanied by haunting music or the sound of ballet slippers on a wooden floor. Some believe that the figurine is inhabited by the spirit of a deceased dancer who yearns to continue her passion for dance even in the afterlife. Others suggest that the figurine is cursed or possessed by a malevolent force. The legend of the dancing ballerina serves as a cautionary tale, warning people about the dangers of acquiring cursed or haunted objects. It taps into the fear of the unknown and the supernatural, as well as our fascination with the world of ballet and the beauty of dance.
Man, that sounds like some Toy Story, Little Soldiers paperwork.
So a spooky small business reached out to me the other day and asked if they could send me a few things. Of course, I said yes, so let's do a little unboxing for you guys today. The company is called For the Recently Deceased. I'm going to tag them below. The paper, the packaging, very cute. I feel guilty tearing this little ghost off, but look at all the little stickers. I love cows. Oh my goodness, this note, this is very cute. Thank you. We got some cute stickers, a business card, and let's get into the stuff. We have these Chucky knife earrings. These are really cool. We've got Billy the Puppet saw blades. These might be my favorites so far, the little ghost-faced calmies. These little hearts. I can definitely tell that they watch my videos, because most of the earrings they sent me are slasher related, and slashers are my favorite. Last but not least, we have some Pennywise balloons. I gotta say, my favorites are still definitely the Jigsaws and the Ghostface. But once again, thank you so much. I'm gonna tag them below. You guys should definitely go check them out.
There was also a theory that in the Guardians of the Galaxy poster, they would expose who dies. Oh, in that shit. Thing. Do they actually? Yeah, so search up Guardians of the Galaxy 1. Look at the color of the words. It's yellow. People are saying it's kind of represents like wood and stuff. Let me see. Who dies in the first one? Groot. Yeah, so look up number 2. Number 2 is blue. Who dies in Guardians of the Galaxy 2? Yondu. Yes. Oh, shit. And it is red. Yeah, no, it's blue and red. And a bit of yellow. Yo, because Yondu's eyes, right? So now but it kind of got disproved, but Guardians of the Galaxy 3. Yeah, it's white. It's just white. There was another one I was looking at. It represented Rocket because it had red and it had like the raccoon whiskers. Yeah, but he kind of did die because remember he got like, he almost died. Did die, low-key. Yeah, he did die low-key. So. Spoiler. So, oh, fuck. Ah, shit, spoiler. Spoiler. Spoiler, that's a fuck spoiler. I'm not gonna lie.
I swear. Just spoiled the whole movie for me. I was about to watch that this weekend.
We found this abandoned mansion that was last owned by a drug dealer. In 2018, police were called over a domestic dispute. The man then barricaded himself inside, and there was a standoff for over 7 hours. He finally surrendered after police threw smoke bombs inside. He was then charged with aggravated assault, and the home was seized. What we found inside will shock you.
So they just left it in shambles all this time?
This man has been locked in this machine for 70 years. Paul Alexander has spent his entire life locked inside this metal canister, and if he ever leaves, he will die. When Paul was a kid, he was diagnosed with a disease called polio, causing him to be totally paralyzed. And this machine allows him to breathe, so if he left it for 1 second, he would pass away. Amazingly, he still lives life as best as he can, and he has friends who visit him regularly.
Man, I would. That's unfortunate to be an iron lung. No,
Have you ever heard of the Vietnamese urban legend of the ghostly wedding? The legend of the ghostly wedding is a haunting Vietnamese tale that revolves around the wedding ceremony that takes place in the spirit realm. It is a story that combines elements of love, tragedy, and the supernatural. According to the legend, the ghostly wedding is said to occur in the realm of spirits or ghosts. It involves ghostly brides and grooms who are unable to find peace and move on due to unresolved love or unfinished business in their lives. These spirits come together to partake in a wedding ceremony, seeking closure and a chance to be united in eternal matrimony. The ghostly wedding is said to be a sorrowful and ethereal event. The ceremony takes place in a mythical setting, often described as a moonlit grove or an otherworldly landscape. Ghostly music, ethereal decorations, and shimmering lights set the stage for the solemn union. During the wedding, the ghostly brides and grooms exchange vows and profess their eternal love. It is said that their love is so strong that it transcends the boundaries between life and death. The ceremony is both a celebration of their love and a plea for redemption or release from their earthly attachments. Witnessing a ghostly wedding is believed to be a rare occurrence. Those who happen upon the event may experience a mixture of emotions, including awe, sadness, and a sense of ephemeral nature of existence. Some versions of the legend suggest that those who witness the ghostly wedding may be granted a glimpse into the realm of spirits and gain a deeper understanding of love, loss, and the mysteries of the afterlife. The legend of the ghostly wedding serves as a poignant reminder of the power of love and the longing for resolution in the realm of the supernatural. It reflects the belief that the bonds of love can transcend death and that some spirits remain tethered to the earthly realm until they find closure or fulfillment.
What y'all think about a ghostly wedding? Like,
guess what, voodoo dolls? We're doing Homie the Clown today. Don't forget to join the live. We got free candy.
Behind me is an x-ray of 34 nails inside of Mr. Chen Liu's skull. He was killed with a nail gun, he was shot in the head and the neck. And as you can see, this x-ray is gruesome. Mr. Liu's body was found severely decomposed by 2 children in 2008. His body was found in Sydney, Australia. Police and medical examiners said that Chen was probably dead for about 12 days before he was found. The unit investigating the murder said they have never seen anything so gruesome with a nail gun before. In fact, many working on this case claim that they've never even seen anyone murdered by a nail gun before. The victim was alone in Australia for 8 years. He had no family. The crazy part of this is no arrests have been made since 2008. All they have is the model of a car, which was a blue Range Rover Sport. That is all the information they have. That was the car that dumped Mr. Liu's body into the river. The victim was only 27 or 28 years old. I've looked for updated articles on anything I could find on this. Most of them I found are from 2009, so his murderers still walk free today. Let me know what you guys think about this in the comment section below.
This woman killed her husband and made him into stew. But that's not even the most shocking part of this case. Catherine Knight was an Australian abattoir worker. Her early years were horrific as her dad was an aggressive alcoholic. Her dad abused her mother and Catherine was also SA'd by multiple family members. She would go on to meet David Kellett, who had a similar personality to her dad. He also had alcohol problems and was violent. However, he had very much met his match with Catherine. On their wedding night, she strangled him over a disagreement. Surprisingly, the pair did actually have a marriage that lasted 10 years and they had 2 children together. However, David had many affairs. This part of the case absolutely stunned me. Shockingly, when Catherine found out about his infidelity, she actually took their 12-month-old daughter and put her on railway tracks. Thankfully, a train never came and the baby survived. Now, Catherine was placed in a psychiatric hospital for a while and did make threats to kill. Although David did briefly take her back when she was discharged, they did eventually break up. In 1986, she met a new David, David Saunders.
She liked them Davids, huh? Them Davids better get it together.
He quickly moved in with her and her daughters. However, their relationship quickly became toxic too. Massive trigger warning here for animals. During one particular argument with David, as a warning to him, she slit the throat of his puppy. Shockingly, he stayed with her and they had a daughter together. The final straw for David was when she tried to kill him with a pair of scissors. She then met a new man called John and had a child with him, but she quickly cheated on him with a man called John Price.
What's up with her liking guys with the same name? She was cool with the Davids, right? Then she got with a John. She's like, nah, you ain't no David. I'm gonna go get another John.
In her relationship with John Price, she would continue her violent and malicious behaviour. She framed him for stealing things from his company and he got sacked. In 2000, they had a particularly bad argument where she tried to stab him. He took out a restraining order in order to try and protect himself. However, in a horrible foreshadowing for events to come, he actually ended up telling people that if he was found dead, it would be Catherine's fault. On February the 29th, 2000, he came home, shortly followed by Catherine. When John went to bed, Catherine grabbed a butcher's knife and stabbed him 37 times. She dragged his body downstairs and hung him from a meat hook. She then cooked his body parts with potatoes and gravy. But this still wouldn't be the most shocking part of the case. After her meal, she took some pills and passed out. Police arrived at the house when it was reported that John failed to turn up for work. They found an absolutely hideous scene. Now, Catherine claimed to have no memory of what happened. At this point, police discovered containers of the human stew with names on. They realised that Catherine's plan was to feed John to her children. For killing John for the first time in Australian history, a woman was given life in prison without parole. Catherine remains in prison.
That's nasty. Ugh.
Prison to this day and denies all responsibility.
Encounter with a witch in an Indian village. There is a history of witchcraft from where I am, and there are numerous witch stories and incidents from centuries. The one I'm about to tell is a real one that happened with me. So here I go. When I was 7 or 8 years old, I used to play with my buddy in a large field behind my house. It was winter when the terrifying incident occurred. The sun was setting down at 5:30 p.m., casting an eerie glow over the surroundings. My buddy and I had wandered quite far from home, and a thick layer of fog began to blanket the area. Knowing it was time to head back, we started walking, hoping to find the distant lights of our neighborhood. After a few minutes, we stumbled upon a small area filled with bamboo trees, a place we had seen before. In the middle of this eerie grove was a small pond. We grew uneasy as we realized this was in the opposite direction from our home. Confused and frightened, we turned around and ventured forward, our vision obscured by the fog. We walked carefully through the dried-up winter rice fields, barely able to see anything beyond our feet. Suddenly, we encountered an old lady on our path. She was hunched over, clutching a dusty cloth that resembled a bag. Her old sari was torn and worn, and she appeared to be a beggar. We approached her, thinking she might be trying to convey something to us. But as she uttered incomprehensible gibberish, a really bad, rotten smell filled the air. Looking up at her, we saw her eyes glowing with a sinister yellow-red hue, and she began to laugh maniacally. Overwhelmed by fear, we sprinted away, desperate to escape her clutches. After what felt like an eternity, we finally are homes. Trembling, I recounted the horrifying encounter to my family. My grandmother's face turned pale, and she hurriedly sprinkled Ganga water, holy water, on me, muttering prayers under her breath. She explained that we had come face to face with a Daini, a witch. The next day, I fell gravely ill with a high fever that lasted for a week. To make matters worse, my friend contracted a severe case of pox shortly afterward, his condition far more agonizing than mine.
Take the battery out of your phone, I can still listen to you. In the old days when you took the batteries out, you take the batteries out and think you're good, and you go in there and skiff, and you can talk about whatever you want. Well, I could still listen to you.
Damn.
We were doing stuff that you could never find what we were doing, ever, and you never will. And it's in every piece of equipment right now, in every chip right now, there's stuff. And where are we buying all the chips from?
China.
Peace. Man, they probably got chips and everything. Probably this screen that I'm looking at right now probably has like a hidden some microphone somewhere, listens to everything that I got going on. Yo, it's crazy out here.
Divine love to all the guys and goddesses, all the high vibrational, beautiful souls and spirits. So, man, we'll be talking about the whole AI thing, man. Artificial intelligence. Let's dive in. So, before I start off, man, I just want to say, man, when everybody is doing it, it should give you a sign not to do it. When everybody is doing it, it should give you a sign not to do it. You feel me? Okay, so not only is the AI using y'all face, scanning y'all face, using y'all facial expressions, you feel me, for Mach 5 robots, that's synthetic robots, for clones and shit. Now, if they want to come and get you, to clone you, they know all your facial expressions, everything about you, details and everything. Not only that, but when you download the app on your phone, agree to the terms and services and everything, they inside your phone now. They know everything y'all got going on. Zeus created this shit. Satan, the bad one, the bad guy. They created this shit. You know how bad they've been trying to fucking computerize us, man? When I say that, I mean turn us into fucking computers, man. To fucking bots. Ain't no lie, man. This shit really pissed me off. Cause it be grown motherfuckers doing it. Grown motherfuckers doing it. If you see celebrities doing it, they should tell you not to do it. Because they the ones that got the celebrities doing it. Just so you can do it. Now everybody want to know how they future baby gonna look. Fuck out of here. AIs. These are artificial intelligent beings that they trying to make. Fucking-Is. Robots that we can fucking live amongst. Shit is all computerized, man. Right here, they tell you this shit been out for decades. But now they finally got this shit that they can use to farther it. And what's that? These fucking apps and shit they coming out, y'all helping them. Will Smith movie iRobot told y'all about this shit, man. The video game Detroit Become Human told y'all about this shit, man. I just don't get it, man. It's like y'all know the fucking truth, but y'all don't give a fuck. As long as everybody doing it, oh, I want to do it too. Like, what type of time is we fucking living in, man? Y'all gotta get that shit together, bruh. Y'all have to get that shit together, man. Y'all have to get that shit together, bruh. Some of y'all is too fucking old for this shit. I love, value, appreciate, and adore every single last one of y'all. Ground, sun gates, detox, meditate, and fast. I see everything. Peace, family.
Speaking of that AI stuff, do you guys watch Black Mirror? Yo, the latest season of Black Mirror, I watched the first episode and it blew my mind with the AI and everything that's going on. And then I think it was literally just yesterday, there was a report came out that Hollywood's trying to use people's faces and just pay them, I think, a one-time payment of $200, and then they have the rights to your face in all movies. And it's like, this is literally what the Black Mirror episode was talking about. So anything that happens in Black Mirror is probably going to happen in real life.
This comment right here, you have to leave the US to eat real food? Let's get into this. And hopefully you guys aren't still eating Chick-fil-A. This chicken sandwich has 55 ingredients, not to mention a few toxic dyes as well, but let's continue. I mean, come on guys, if the ingredients list is this long, you might want to reconsider putting the food into your body. Let's continue. And for all the non-believers, look at the comparison between the US and the UK. Look how much crap they're putting into our food, and look what the UK gets. Why is this a thing? Here's another example. Why are they putting BHT in our food? That stuff's been known to cause cancer. They're just doing it for the freshness. But why isn't Kellogg's in the UK doing it? Can somebody explain to me in the comment section? Let's continue. I mean, are you guys not seeing this? Look at the comparison between the same company, but sold in different countries. Look what we get in the US, all those toxic dyes and things that are gonna harm us. Look what the UK gets. What? I'm sorry y'all, but I'm getting sick of this. Look what they're putting into our food. Go to the UK version. Why are any of those toxic dyes in their food? Why are Americans having to suffer like this? This is too much. Like, honestly, I don't get it. Why can't we learn from the UK and use natural flavors and natural dyes? Why do we have to use these substitutes that are causing illnesses and cancers? What the heck is going on? Even though this comparison doesn't look as bad, why do we have more ingredients still? Why does the UK have less?
He keep asking why, but we all know why, and I'm sure he also knows why.
You can clearly see that UK does not want their people sick. What does America want for us? And they allow us to stay sick and toxic. Number 4, Heinz ketchup. You know, the kind you're going to find in almost every restaurant in America. Heinz ketchup is GMO-free in the United Kingdom, but full of genetically modified organisms and high fructose corn syrup in the United States, along with lab-produced natural flavorings, which not all of them are bad, but from a company like this, they're bad. And it helps create an addiction to the product. Think of that the next time you're dipping your fries and you can't stop eating that ketchup. Listen, guys, when I do these videos, it's just to inform you and to wake some people up. Now let's continue. Doritos. Now, both versions of Doritos are horrible, but the American Doritos are covered in artificial dyes. They're all made from petroleum, the red number 40, the blue number 1, the yellow number 5, super toxic. The dyes have been found to be contaminated with carcinogens, such as benzidine. Benzenes can create some really ugly blood cancers if overconsumed. Whoa. Did he say blood cancer? If you want more about this, like, comment, and share. Thank you.
Gotta watch what you eat. Seriously.
If you consuming eggs, beef, cheese, and dairy, then expect mucus, expect disease. You know, you found out that meat is not good for our digestive system.
Our bodies are not built that way. Our whole system, it's built to be omnivores, which is plant-based eating, which is strange, like I said, because we're here trying to ingest meat and break this down in our stomachs, but we can't because we don't have the proper bodily functions to do that.
We're not animals, period.
The power of the system we live in is to make people believe things that are so ridiculous on the face of it, but they've been told it over and over and over since the day they were born, that they can't question it anymore. Many of the things, like the sun is a good example. For someone to say the sun's a hell of a lot closer to us than 93 million...
Yo, look at that. Look at the sun. It's in the clouds, clearly.
...miles, the average person's going to roll their eyes. This is the system protecting itself in the lie that we have been constructed into. A lot of people will go at this and say, well, why did we get lied to? Well, you can think of basic reasons, like to deny someone the knowledge of knowing where they exist. That deprives a human being of almost everything. To not even understand where you exist denies you really much ability to know where you're going to go, where you've come from, the things that are even possible in this place, because you don't even know what this place is.
You're saying that after a Big Bang, even with the law of thermodynamics called entropy, which we'll get to in a second, somehow our galaxy ended up being a perfectly flat plane? Not just is the solar system a flat plane, the entire Milky Way galaxy is a flat plane, where all the planets spin in the same direction. The odds of that are less than winning the Mega Lotto every single day for thousands of years. Now look at the moon. The moon is a perfect circle. The odds that that happened after Big Bang and just chaos of atoms and particles and dust and rocks colliding is 0. The odds are literally 0. There's no force, there's no wind, there's no erosion, there's no water, there's no force acting upon that moon that would make it a perfect sphere. The odds that the spin of the moon is exactly the same speed as it rotates around the Earth, again, are 0. If it was 1/4 of 1 mile per hour different, it would slowly turn. And there is 0 physics explanations with the model of gravity as we know it to explain why its axis rotation is exactly matching it rotate around us so that we only see one side. Light being shined upon a sphere does not make the luminescence the same all the way across. You can do a test with a tennis ball and a flashlight. It's impossible. It can't happen. It only happens on 2-dimensional objects. Seeing as you've only seen one side of the moon because of its miraculous rotation and its perfect circle, and the fact that the luminescence is the same across the whole thing, implies, I'm not stating this, it implies it's a 2-dimensional object. Okay? The size and weight of the moon, according to science, it is impossible for it to be rotating around our Earth. The way the moon was created according to mainstream science is that an object the size of Mars hit Earth and created the moon. That's nonsense. We would have rings like Saturn. Where's all the dust? Where's all the debris? Where's everything? That all just disappeared? That makes no sense at all. Next up, the sun is 400 times bigger and miraculously 400 times farther away than the moon. And like two machine-cut quarters, they line up perfectly to make an eclipse. The odds of that are 1 in trillions times 1 in trillions times 1 in trillions. It's not possible. That the perfect circles in this world line up perfectly with something 400 times larger from a third factor, which is your fixed position on an Earth, that they claim is spinning 1,000 miles an hour. The shadow of the eclipse is 70 miles wide. There is no way to make a shadow smaller than the object. Of course, there are people that say umbra, because like goats, they've been trained to say that, but they cannot recreate an umbra on Earth. They only believe it because they've been indoctrinated to believe it since the time of their birth by people who want to remove their connection to God.
Science is a bit of a religion now. When you come into a scientific group and you challenge NASA, they're not going to talk to you. They're just going to call you a silly man and ignore everything you say. Well, see, this is the programming of science doing this. Science should be dictating that anything we can question should be questioned, and yet this is not what we see.
The law of entropy is that matter and energy naturally go from order to chaos. If you break a glass, even after 1 billion years, the broken shards will not reform into the glass because objects have a tendency towards entropy, towards dissolving, towards breaking apart. So how do we have a human eyeball from a Big Bang? The Big Bang happens and it creates a never-ending waterfall, cascade, domino effect of atoms smashing against each other in an empty darkness for eternity. So given the law of entropy that things go from order to chaos, how on earth do we have the structure of a human eyeball in which we can see light and then recreate the light in our minds as images that represent our physical reality? It contradicts to a point of laughable mockery.
Yo, if that wasn't one of the most wokest videos I've ever seen, that's crazy.
Why are you down here?
Yeah, what really happened?
Do y'all think this is art? There's no way. Oh, man, look. Why are you touching shit? Now watch, we won't never see his ass again. Watch.
I don't know. For me, I believe in God. I'm very religious. Came up in the church, so anything that has to do with Satan, I can't rock with.
And he's not the only person talking about this. In fact, Offset from the Migos actually mentioned specifically about so many people worshiping the devil and was even mocked for it by none other than Lil Uzi Vert, who then put a 666 symbol and so forth. But here's what he had to say.
All y'all went upside down cross. Even my little partners, man. Stop that shit, boy. You look lame. All that worship the devil. He was God, man.
And these aren't the only guys who are pointing this out. In fact, some of them are talking about how it's, oh, this tongue-in-cheek thing. And then some have said, hey, I just DM'd him and asked him about, are you about Satan? Are you about just destroying this world? And here's what a couple of different artists had to say.
Well, you said that Lil Uzi Vert is the devil.
Yeah, he's most definitely the devil.
Definitely the devil?
Without a doubt.
Why is he the devil?
To be actually honest, I talked to bro. See, I'm a DMer. Like, I'll slide in somebody's DM ASAP.
Okay.
I slid in his DM and I asked him, I was like, bro, like, are you here to, like, destroy the earth? And he said, yeah, I believe that. He said all his friends are dead, and most of them died.
Lil Uzi Vert had the upside down cross.
He had multiple ups and downs. Maximum upside down crosses.
Times changing, dude. You know what I'm saying? Like, I was doing when people thought it was up. But now, 20 years later, you know what I'm saying? Here it comes again. And now upside down crosses, which is disrespectful to my elders. You know what I mean? People can put the spin on it all they want to. But the way I was raised, you know, is disrespectful.
So it seems like there are plenty of people that are like, wait a second, I don't know how much you're just joking about all of this, pushing this, and even singing about converting your city girl girlfriend into believing in Satan, which was actually something that the Night Stalker, Richard Ramirez, would do. Would take women and take advantage of them and then force them to worship Satan. And this is somebody rapping about this, and people think, oh, this is all just tongue-in-cheek. It's so funny. Oh, he just loves Marilyn Manson, and he loves, on his Instagram page, taking pictures of people with pentagrams, and he loves having all of this satanic imagery on his albums and so forth. And a lot of the people that are around him are saying, no, I don't think this is so much of an act. And then we see that he is bridging a gap here. And this is something that has happened plenty of times in music, whether it was Jay-Z with Linkin Park or with Lil Uzi Vert now and Bring Me the Horizon. And if you guys have never heard about them, they are openly God haters.
I guess I'd always considered myself atheist, so at least I don't believe in like an organized religion. It never really played much part in my life until I guess maybe a year or so ago, when it was kind of like I was in a really bad place, in a real dark place, and I ended up going to get some help and stuff. And in this particular, I guess, treatment or whatever you want to call it, one of the main things was actually like handing yourself over to God. And I just didn't understand that, and it made me really angry, and it kind of really made me sad as well, because I just don't think placing your hopes in something that clearly doesn't exist. You know what I mean? I guess for me, I wanted to get better for myself, and I wanted to get better for my friends and my family, and not for something that, not for like, I guess, just this faceless God.
Song after song after song that mocks God, mocks Christians, hates God. In fact, in quite a few interviews, they've talked about this and been open about their hatred towards, of course, they say religion. And we can do an entire episode just on some of the ignorance. And it breaks my heart, because people think that, and I say this once again, coming from an atheistic background, where at some point I thought, oh, I'm intellectual because I'm an atheist. But then when you listen to people actually try to explain just the very foundation of the universe, just explain who we are, why we're here, purpose for this life, the reason why we have any moral inclinations whatsoever or anything like that, you realize, wow, that's a lot of words to explain something that really doesn't make any sense without a one true God. But not just that, but some of the ignorance you see them push, oh, you know, religion starts all these world wars. With just a good quick Google search, you could find out very quickly that that's not true. But people think this is the side of the intellect. And a lot of times it's simply because rebellion to this degree is, I think...
Uh-oh, Jamie Foxx.
Thank you, Jamie! Oh my God! There's your purse! Wait, son!
Let's not forget how his family was asking for all his fans, for prayers. They didn't know what the outcome was gonna be. They didn't know if he was gonna make it. All the close friends, people that really knew him in real life, was preparing for the worst. So all of a sudden, now he's on a boat when we still ain't heard him say a word yet. He still ain't said a word. How we know this Jamie right here? How do we know this is Jamie right here? He can't even do a quick video on his Instagram and tell his fans, thank you for the prayers. I'm good, y'all. No, something ain't right about this situation, man.
That's Tyrone.
When we already know, they clone Tyrone, man.
That's Tyrone.
They clone Tyrone. And this is his next movie that's finna come out in about 2 weeks. And he got this old video pinned to make it seem like he done said something new. This video from August of 2022. And they tried to pin it. They tried to pin it to make it seem like he done said something new. They cloned Tyrone, man. The same shit with Martin Lawrence, man. Same shit with Martin Lawrence when he was running in the street, man.
Oh yeah.
The same shit, man. What they say? That nigga was found on Tyrone Avenue when he was running in the street with the gun. Yes, Martin Lawrence too. I believe Martin Lawrence has been cloned as well. I'm telling y'all, man, man, something ain't right with this, man. Something ain't right. You can't be, no, you can't play that little role and act like, you know, I'm only trying to respect his privacy. Any other time TMZ be pestering motherfuckers, celebrities be ready to knock their ass out, how much they be getting on these folks' nerves. So don't try to play that little role where, oh, we trying to respect his privacy when he's a public figure. And y'all made this whole thing public. The daughter was the one that broke the news on Instagram. Let's not forget about this movie right here. Look at this movie cover, y'all. What that look like?
That's a coffin.
What that look like? That look like a whole motherfucking coffin. They done put dog in a whole coffin for the movie last year, Day Shift. And it look like fire he's in. He's in hell fire. You hear me? And they got this man in a casket, man.
Yes. Can men get pregnant? Hell no. We're not what's you call them? Seahorses. We not that. We're asking people if men can get pregnant at Columbia University, and then we're gonna go to Harlem and ask the same question. You guys think men can get pregnant?
If you identify as a man and you have the reproductive parts to get pregnant, then yeah, you can get pregnant.
Like, it's a yes. Obviously it's a yes. There's no question.
Someone that identifies as a man can have a uterus and potentially get pregnant.
If like the man has the same body structure like women. With the, like here, maybe he can pregnant. Yeah, if you're transgender, I believe like you can do the whole procedure.
So you define your way into pregnancy, right?
You can now, yeah.
Can men get pregnant?
I want no part of this. Well, yes.
I feel hurt.
Yes. Do you want any part of it? No. So that was Columbia, and this is Harlem, and we're gonna ask the same question. Can men get pregnant? What do you guys think? Can men get pregnant? Hell no.
Men cannot get pregnant. That's yes, because they don't got a uterus. Hello. Yeah, they don't have a uterus.
A lot of people have been telling us they can. What are your thoughts on that?
I think that's outrageous, bro. For the men, we're here to, like, you know, put the seed inside the female.
We're not fucking, what's you call them? Seahorses. We not that.
Yeah, we ain't no fucking seahorses. We can get them pregnant.
Man is not to have baby. God created woman and man to make baby. That's man.
A lot of people have been telling us that men can get pregnant. Have you been hearing this at all?
No, I have not.
You don't have a clue what they're talking about?
No.
What's crazy and what I'm taking from this is that these people live in literally 2 different universes, 2 different realities. Because if you're on Columbia University, all you hear is this one narrative. But once you get outside of that, it's a whole nother narrative. So it's just crazy how they can separate the mindsets of people just like that.
Do you have any idea what they're talking about?
No No, not really.
They're telling you that if a man has those parts, then they can get pregnant. That's what they were saying.
Really?
Does that make any sense to you?
No, not really. No, they don't have a uterus, bro. You really can't. It don't make no sense to me. Well, only women do.
So what's your opinion on that they think men can get pregnant?
It sounds kind of dumb to me.
I'll tell you what we've been hearing. So they say that if a man has a uterus, has a woman's parts, then they can get pregnant. That's what they're telling me.
Okay, I guess that makes sense, but they would be a woman.
God is the creator of this world as far as I know. He made a woman and he made a man, and he made us for a purpose. Man is never gonna have a baby, so people that's thinking like that are crazy, and you better know they crazy.
So, if you know my face, you'll know that this is a different page that I'm on now, because my main account on TikTok has just got banned. The Matrix finally got their way. They've been trying to silence me for a while, and this is just the way they can do it. They just, permanently ban my old account. So I'm going to be using this one from now on. I did send in an email to see if I can get back my old account, my main account, but I doubt it. I've always tried to do that with all the accounts I've had on TikTok, and they never come back.
Oh, so he got banned.
But this is not the end of me. This is just going to make me stronger. Still going to share truth when I need to. And yeah. So go follow this page if this rocks up on the For You page or whatever. And you know who I am. Follow this page because this will be my new page from now on. So yeah.
Who is a Jigsaw survivor that actually deserved to survive? I'm gonna get a lot of hate for this, but Amanda Young from the first Saw movie. Amanda is put into this trap because she is an addict, and Jigsaw tells her that she does not appreciate the life that she is given. She has 60 seconds to get this reverse bear trap off of her head before it rips her jaw completely open, unaliving her almost instantly. She is told the key is in the stomach of her redacted cellmate who is lying on the floor in front of her. So again, she thinks this guy is unalived, and she is desperate. She's cutting open his stomach trying to get in there. But before she makes the first cut, she realizes this man is alive. And not only is he alive, he's waking up. But she goes through with it anyway. She gets the key out of his stomach, she unlocks her reverse bear trap with mere seconds to spare, and she survives. Jigsaw deems her grateful now of being alive and that she is now cured. She obviously later goes on to become his apprentice because he grooms her. She's also a little mentally unstable, but we love Amanda anyways. But yeah, she goes through a lot. She deserved to survive her first.
Could you imagine, y'all, being locked in one of Jigsaw's traps? I don't know what I would do. I don't know if I would fight to find a key. I don't know if I would just say, F it. Take my life, whatever. You know what I'm saying? Like, what do you do in that situation? I don't know.
Everybody needs to watch this video. Okay, so we all remember this dress that broke the internet. Some people think it's white and gold, others think it's blue and black. But the man behind this dress actually has been charged with the attempted murder of his wife. 38-year-old Keir Johnston allegedly committed an 11-year-old campaign of domestic violence actions and control against his wife, all leading up to a moment last March in which he allegedly attempted to kill her by pinning her to the ground and compressing her neck. Keir Johnston has denied all allegations against him at this time, and the attempted murder case will have its preliminary hearing before a trial in 2024. This is actually crazy because this is one of the first things that ever go viral on the internet, and the person behind it was literally just charged with the attempted murder of his wife. So do you think Keir Johnston tried to kill his wife? Or do you think he's innocent? Let me know your opinions on this whole case in the comments, because this is absolutely mind-blowing to me, and I bet it is to a lot of you guys also. And one last time, is the dress white and gold or blue and black?
That's what I was going to ask. Is it white and gold or is it black and blue? I personally see blue and gold. I don't even see white on there.
This is Shannon McCool, one of the worst pedophiles of all time. I'm going to warn you right now, this story is incredibly disturbing and hard to listen to, so viewer discretion is advised. Shannon McCool is from Australia, and according to interviews that he gave after his arrest, he started having these feelings towards other children when he was 15 years old. So from a very young age, he felt these pedophilic behaviors and desires. In the year 2011, he began working for the Families SA, which is a part of the Australian government that oversees childcare and abuse. And through this government job, he was able to get access to hundreds of children.
Yo, I feel like, man, you don't know who's working for who in these government jobs that are supposedly helping children. Like, people like this can apply all the time, and you won't know what they got going on in the back of their mind. So, man, it's just, you got to be careful out here.
These kids had been through it all already. They came from abusive and negative backgrounds, and he took this and used it to his advantage. He was able to get access to these kids for years, and even though other employees reported that he had been acting inappropriately with these youngsters, nothing happened. The government agencies ignored these red flags and kept him under their employment. But in the shadows, Shannon was engaging in some of the most deplorable internet behavior I've ever read about. He was a moderator for a website called The Love Zone, a website which had connections to Peter Scully, Richard Huckle, and a number of other pedophiles that we've talked about here on my TikTok in the past. But apparently, for other pedophiles to get access to this massive library of CP and become a member of the Love Zone, they had to upload their own user-generated CP at least once a month. This means that Shannon wasn't just taking kids from residential homes, abusing them, filming the videos, and putting them up on the internet for other people to seek out. He was actually encouraging people all across the planet to commit their own atrocious things. And he would then tell them that if you want access to his media, you would have to upload your own. So he was encouraging just so much abuse across the planet. According to Shannon, the first time that he had done something like this was in 2011 when he picked up a kid from childcare, was driving him home, pulled the car over, touched him inappropriately, filmed it, and then uploaded it. And from that point going forward, he was gone, and he eventually worked his way up to being one of the biggest pedophiles on the internet, dealing CP to millions across the globe. One of his alleged offenses even includes the assault of an 18-month-old child. But eventually, Shannon's crimes would come to the light. And that's when Task Force Argo stepped in, a division of the Queensland Police Service, who specifically investigate child exploitation and abuse online. I find it interesting that they use a scorpion as their logo for the task force, because the scorpion is the natural predator of the Australian stone spider, and pedophiles in Australian prisons are referred to as stone spiders. Well, eventually, I mean, there's a longer story that I could go into this about how the police actually ended up running a pedophile website and busting a ton of people, but that led them to Shannon McCool's house. Now, when they investigated his home, they found over 53,000 CP images, a good number of which he was actually directly involved with producing. And in total, after all of their investigation was completed, they had recovered over 100,000 CP still images and over 600 videos from Shannon. In 2015, he received 35 years in prison for his crimes, but recently his sentence was slashed.
Listen, y'all, listen. I know everybody wants to go viral. Everybody wants that TikTok that just, you know, skyrockets and gets 1 million views. Everyone wants that. But please, please, please do not extort your children and keep them off the internet as much as possible. Because of people like that. You never know who's on the internet watching your kids. So you got to be safe.
Kendrick Johnson didn't roll himself up in a mat. Kendrick Johnson was described as a quiet but very sweet boy.
I think I remember this.
He was a talented athlete. He played in 3 sports, and it was his dream to play professional football. Kendrick lived with his family in Georgia, and he went to Lowndes High School. But on January 11th of 2013, his life would be cut tragically short. Kendrick didn't show up to his afternoon classes, and he was marked absent. He did have a game that he needed to attend that night, so his parents weren't worried when he didn't come home from school. But when he didn't show up after midnight, that's when they started getting worried. Kendrick would be found the next day, and he would be in this gym mat that had been rolled up. Kendrick was facing down. He had one arm stretched in front of him, and his other arm was near his waist. The weird thing is that his shoes were stuffed down by his knees. Several students claimed that they would often throw their sneakers in these gym mats so that they wouldn't have to pay for locker space, and they said that Kendrick did this along with a friend of his. These gym mats stood about 6 feet tall, and when they were rolled up, the center hole was about 14 inches in diameter. The strange thing is that Kendrick's shoulders were about 19 inches across. Although it seemed like it was almost impossible for Kendrick to squeeze into this smaller hole to get his shoes, the case was quickly ruled an accident and closed. But there are several strange things to this case that make many, including myself, believe that it was in fact not an accident, but murder. One of the first strange things about this case was that, according to Georgia law, when a body is found, the coroner needs to be called immediately. But it took the investigators 6 hours to call the coroner to come get Kendrick. Another strange thing is that there was in fact blood on the gym floor and on the bottom of the floor mat, which would make sense if Kendrick had been trapped in the floor mat for an extended period of time. If he had hung upside down for as long as they said he did, he would have eventually started bleeding from his nose and his mouth and his eyes. There was also a gym shoe at the bottom of this gym mat, but the blood on the floor was not on top of the shoe. So how was it that he was trying to reach down for the shoe, but there was no blood on the shoe itself? But in fact, just under the shoe, if that makes sense. There was also an orange hoodie and a black pair of shoes found that seemed to have blood on it, but when investigators looked at it, they said it wasn't blood, but the shoes and the orange hoodie were never taken in as evidence. I am going to have to go to part 2. Give me a couple minutes to...
Did you? What y'all think? Do that sound like a cover-up to y'all? Do y'all really think this boy went down there on accident and got stuck and couldn't yell and there was nobody in the school, or like he was the only one in the gym before a football game and he got stuck and could nobody hear him? Like she said, it's a lot of fishy stuff going on with that one, man. It's just messed up and it's unfortunate though.
You know about the mysteries of the catacombs? The Paris catacombs are a network of tunnels that hold the remains of more than 6 million people. In the late 1700s, the cemeteries in Paris were overflowing, and a decision was made to place the remains under the city. These human remains were organized in artistic ways, and there are even different rooms dedicated to unique skeletal remains or deformities. Even though you can explore parts of the catacombs, many parts are dangerous or even illegal to visit. In the 1990s, explorers found a video camera in the catacombs. This footage showed a man exploring the catacombs, and as the footage continues, the man's pace becomes faster and more panicked. Eventually, the man drops the camera and runs away into the dark. The fate of this man is unknown. The question is, what was he running from? Did he become disoriented or panicked? Was his light battery running low? Or was there something more sinister hiding in the catacombs? Follow me for more.
3 paranormal TikToks that will chew you to the bone.
Looks like we've already passed it a while ago, but that tree is gone. I'm probably going to turn around soon. Oh, there's 2 ways. Holy crap, dude, this trail goes on forever. It just got really quiet really fast.
Oh, no. What's that? Go. Uh-oh, and that mug won't start either.
That was my cue to leave.
Yep.
What was this?
At the end of this video, I'll add the photo for context to anyone that's seeing this and hasn't seen the first video. I'm home alone, just me and my daughter, and someone took a picture of me in my bed at 2 o'clock in the morning, which is super terrifying. Right now, I'm staying at a buddy's house in his guest room. We're too spooked to stay at my house. It's just too creepy. Even though I did search the whole house, there's definitely no one there. And I made a police report. They didn't really seem super interested, but anyways, here's the photo. I made sure to screenshot it so you can see what time it was taken. It's at 2:34 in the morning. As you can see, there's no way that my daughter could have taken it. And there was no one else at my house.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, the way that the photo looks is just super creepy, and it looks like someone was standing on my bed, which is also super creepy.
Yo.
There's something under there. Bro.
And they going down.
Dude, please don't go down there. Oh my gosh.
Oh no. You heard
Dude,
that?
hold on. Let me go first. Let me go first.
Morbid Facts, Part 62. In 2006, a 38-year-old woman who had been missing for 3 years was found dead in her London home with the TV still running. Prior to her death, she had cut off nearly all contact with those who knew her and apparently died from an asthma attack with no one by her side. 25 years after the unsolved murder of Nicole Van Den Herk, her stepbrother falsely confessed to killing her. He did this so that the body would be exhumed for DNA testing, which led to the prosecution of her true killer. To unlock the secrets of a genius, the man who performed Einstein's autopsy stole his brain and kept it inside a jar for 20 years. He found that the part of Einstein's brain that processes math and language was 15% bigger than the average human's. In 2010, a Polish man wanted doctors to remove a years-long cyst on the back of his head. Upon further examination, doctors found that the cyst was actually a .22 caliber bullet that was lodged in his scalp.
That's crazy.
Turns out he was apparently shot when he was blackout drunk at—
Did you know about the dancing?
Yo, the man got shot in the back of the head and did not know. That's mind blowing. Like, how drunk was you at that party? You thought you just got nicked or something. They didn't hit you with a little deuce.
Plague? In 1518, a woman in Strasbourg, France started dancing on the streets and couldn't stop, and soon others joined her unwillingly. The dancing quickly spread, and within weeks, hundreds of people were dancing in a frenzied state. They danced for hours, days, and even weeks without rest, resulting in exhaustion, injury, and even death. Many believe that the dancing plague was a form of mass hysteria or a symptom of a type of food poisoning from ergot fungi, which is commonly found on cereal grains like wheat and rye. However, the exact cause remains unclear. Regardless of the reasons why, the dancing plague is one of the most bizarre and perplexing events in our history.
The dark truth behind why the Titanic was uncovered. In 1985, when it was announced that Robert Ballard had found the sunken ship, he was hailed a hero. But what he did not tell you was that the whole search for the Titanic was a big cover by the Navy for something else. Well, you see, when Robert Ballard went around lobbying for funding to find the sunken Titanic, the Navy jumped at the opportunity to use this front as a disguise for the real mission, to potentially find and recover Thresher and Scorpion, two sunken nuclear submarines that the US Navy lost to the Soviets in the 60s. And even though the submarines were just sitting on the Atlantic Ocean floor, they contained treasure troves of nuclear military technology that the Navy wanted to avoid falling into the wrong hands. Truth be told, it worked. The military got their technology back. Robert Ballard was able to use the remaining time to unearth the Titanic, which ended up being a blockbuster film. Even though you can watch the full video by clicking on the link in the description below. And ever since the success of the movie, many people still don't know that this is
This paranormal case is one of Australia's most mysterious supernatural attacks. These are the ghost stories from our own backyard, so sit down, dim the lights as I tell you the story of the Guyra hauntings. In 1921, for 4 months, the Bowen family from Guyra, New South Wales believed that they were being attacked by a poltergeist. These attacks included rocks falling from the ceiling and rocks being thrown from an unknown source outside. The rocks shattered all the windows on the weatherboard house. Even when the police and locals surrounded the house, no culprit was ever found. Banging could also be heard on the walls. The strange thing was that the banging seemed to come from within the house, but to those on the inside, it appeared like the banging was coming from outside the house. The target of these supernatural attacks was believed to be the Bowens' 12-year-old daughter, Minnie. Minnie was a shy young girl whose family believed that she had supernatural powers. These powers included the ability to move objects without touching them.
Y'all ever seen the movie Matilda? Because this sounded a lot like Matilda. Supernatural powers, moving things without touching them.
The Morning Herald described Minnie as being tall, thin, with dark, peculiar eyes that never seem to miss any movement in the room. And when she speaks to you, she never smiles. It was believed that Minnie's powers attracted the ghost of her half-sister who passed away months prior. The case caught the attention of spiritualist Ben Davey. He prompted Minnie to speak out loud to her deceased half-sister May, in which Minnie responded she can't because she's dead, and Davey prompted her again to try. Minnie then claimed that May spoke to her. Apparently May said, "Tell Mother I am in heaven and I am quite happy. Another psychic investigator called Harry Moores also turned up at the house. He claimed that the hauntings was the work of a poltergeist. From research, poltergeist activity usually follows a person who is approaching puberty, or have experienced some kind of tragedy or trauma within or close to the family. The Gyra haunting is now considered a textbook example. However, the attacks on the house became so extreme that the family attempted to escape the ghost. Minnie's parents moved her to her grandmother's house in Glen Innes, but the family claimed that the poltergeist followed her there. Despite having a few days of peace, the attacks started again. Banging could be heard within her grandmother's home, and the bangs were strong enough to
A family in Las Cruces, New Mexico began noticing certain items going missing from their loved one's gravesite. They installed security cameras in the area, and what they captured was shocking. The images depict a little girl about the size and age of Fabiola Rodriguez, the little girl who had died 2 years earlier and whose tombstone was just a few feet away from this family's. After finding this, the family contacted Fabiola's mother. Sandra Gonzalez burst into tears, saying, "Oh my God, that's my baby." In one of the video stills, you can actually see Fabiola standing next to a taller apparition. Some believe that this is 2-year-old Fabiola.
A man's body has been found in a rubbish bag. His mum's body was also found. In New York on the 5th of July, the body of 31-year-old Kyle Danielson was found in a rubbish bag. He was found with a puncture wound to his back, and it's believed that he'd been deceased for a while. Around 12 hours later, tragically, his mum's body was also found in their home. The cause of death has not yet been confirmed, but police believe Kyle's 40-year-old brother Roscoe was responsible for moving him. CCTV apparently captured Roscoe moving him from the house. Roscoe was arrested on charges including weapon possession, tampering with evidence, and concealment of a body.
Videos that
that are gonna be released soon. Hey, free my boy John Wilkes Booth. He didn't do nothing. He just murdered a president. We got Yolanda Saldivar. She killed Selena. Yo, why is we releasing this demonio? She's getting released in 2025. Fam, that's in 10 days. Bro, we gonna jump her ass.
Supposedly Al Capone was haunted by one of his victims. Back in 1929, there were 7 members of the North Side Gang, which was Al Capone's rival gang at the time, and they met in some garage in Chicago. One of the men was James Clark, and all 7 of them were massacred by 4 other men. 2 of the 4 were disguised as police officers, and it's believed that this was Al Capone's gang who was making this big hit on 7 of the rival gang members. So the massacre was never solved, but still many believe the hit was ordered by Al Capone, and later his prison guards reported hearing blood-curdling screams coming from his cell. And supposedly he was always shouting the name Jimmy, and he kept yelling to leave me alone, even though the prison guards would run over and there was no one in there but Al Capone. I do know he had a pretty severe case of syphilis by the end of his life, especially when he was in prison. It was called syphilitic paresis. Also, it used to be called syphilitic insanity, which is a neuropsychiatric disorder. So this might have...
Did you know that Saw used to have...
Wait. Syphilis make you go crazy? I didn't know that. I just thought it was something from, you know.
Have a haunted house at Halloween Horror Nights? Well, they did, and it was called Saw, the Games of Jigsaw. It was this really cool haunted house where you would just walk through a series of saw traps in the process of happening. Dozens of live actors and performers playing characters from the movies and original characters. My understanding is they did this several years ago to promote a new upcoming Saw movie. There's also this amazing video online where you can watch the guy who plays Jigsaw, Tobin Bell. You can watch him go through the maze. And his reactions are so funny. Like, so many of the scare actors get him. He genuinely jumps out of fright. He gives a captain's salute to Billy the Puppet. I love you, brother. Tobin's so funny. There's some moments where he's like genuinely having a hard time, and he says at the end that it was genuinely effing terrifying. This is my first year going to Halloween Horror Nights ever, and I really hope that to promote Saw X, they're gonna announce a Saw House at Horror Nights. Because how amazing would this be?
Creepy encounter.
Yo, she freaked out. Look.
Laptop off. Who are you? Who are you? Please get out. Please get out. No, please get out. Yes. Who are you? Please get out of my apartment right now. Please get out of my apartment right now. Get out. Get out. Hello?
That man just walked right in. La Lorena and 4K. This does not look like 4K. I wouldn't even be filming her.
There's a video I want to show you, bro.
Okay, show me.
There's this kid, right? He's looking in a mirror. The parents are recording him. And when he looks away from the mirror, the kid's face is still there. They're saying his reflection got possessed by a demon. Look at this.
Is this a fake video or this?
No, this is real. This is real. This is going viral on Twitter right now.
Look at that.
Whoa, nah, chill. Chill. Wait, hold on.
Look.
Does it sync again? Let's see if it syncs again.
It syncs up, bro. It syncs up. Check this out. I was watching it, right? Fam, right when I was watching it, I got like the chills, bro. I felt like I actually saw like a real demon, dog.
No.
And I only feel that when I really sense like evil in something I'm watching. Remember I told you that story I was watching? It was like the house with all of the Conjuring stuff and then the idol, remember?
Yeah.
There's this other picture. I don't know if I talked about this before, but it's a famous painting.
Yo, that famous painting. I don't know if this is the one that I'm thinking of, but like I've seen this before. It's a person holding a mirror, right? And they're looking, but on the other side of the mirror, there's like a demon on that other side. So it makes me think that when people look into these mirrors, that they open up portals or something to another dimension. The unseen is seen. Like, for instance, the guy that was in the car, someone was recording him from another car, and when he moved his head, you know, the reflection didn't move. I've also seen, it was some guy, I don't know. There's a lot of videos like this, y'all. So it's wow.
Warmbier's decision to take a trip to North Korea before starting his semester abroad in Hong Kong turned out to be a fatal mistake. Despite warnings from the State Department and his parents, Warmbier was determined to go on an adventure. The promising young student, who was a math whiz and a star athlete, found himself in a harrowing situation when he was detained by North Korean authorities for allegedly stealing a propaganda poster. The nightmare began for Warmbier, and the 17 months that followed were nothing short of torture. When he returned home, the true horror of his imprisonment was revealed. He was in a coma with severe brain damage, and his health was rapidly declining. He died within a week. To this day, no one knows what really happened to Otto Warmbier while he was being held in North Korea, but his family firmly believes his death was the result of awful, torturous treatment.
Sure.
Warmbier's parents described him as a well-rounded youth who graduated as the salutatorian of his class and showed prowess as a swimmer and soccer player. He was awarded the titles of both homecoming and prom king at Wyoming High School. He was known for his athletic prowess, classic good looks, and unending charisma, which made him everyone's friend in his small town of Wyoming. He earned a scholarship to the University of Virginia, where he was known to be studious and meticulous, and he even joined a fraternity full of kind of nerdy dudes. Warmbier was detained by North Korean authorities after they accused him of committing a hostile act against the state. He was held in confinement and subjected to a televised confession, where he shed tears and pleaded to be sent back to America. In March 2016, the North Korean government sentenced him to 15 years of hard labor for crimes against the state. A campaign back in the United States pushed for Warmbier's return, which took more than a year. The truth about Otto Warmbier's suspicious arrest, trial, and death may never be uncovered. North Korea denied allegations that they had abused Warmbier in any way, claiming that he had contracted botulism and suffered an allergic reaction to a medication. Warmbier's parents, however, firmly believed that their son had been physically tortured while in prison. The tragic fate of Otto Warmbier serves as a warning to those who seek adventure in dangerous places and highlights the dangers of traveling to countries with poor human rights records.
First off, what you doing traveling through North Korea? A person like me, I don't even like traveling through Wisconsin, Virginia. Like, I'm cool. It's cities in my own state I don't even want to travel through. And this mug want to take a stop in North Korea.
Nightmarish facts about your body that you probably shouldn't think about. Due to the brain's lack of pain receptors, brain surgery is often performed while the patient is awake and talking. And in some cases of brain surgery, the surgeon will pull your face forward like a banana. Men's nipples can be stimulated enough to produce milk. Once you turn 30 years old, you can expect to lose half an inch every 10 years. When you developed in the womb, your anus was formed before anything else. So at one point, you were nothing but an asshole. The acid in your body is strong enough to dissolve razor blades, which is why your stomach is in a constant battle to not digest itself. When you get a sunburn, your cells are dying to avoid becoming cancerous. A sneeze can blow out of your nose at over 100 miles an hour. So next time, be careful, because it's actually possible to break a rib simply by sneezing. If you've ever been on a roller coaster and feel like your heartbeat is in your mouth, it isn't your imagination, your organs are...
This video might be proof that reptilians do live among us.
Forces and protecting the population and minimizing civilian casualties have long been a cornerstone of the counterinsurgency doctrine.
What just happened?
Casualties have long been a cornerstone of the counterinsurgency doctrine.
She straight up just shapeshifted on live TV, folks! Maybe the lady on the plane was being real. If you want more video proof, then check out this video on my YouTube channel, link
in Filipino culture. The term pagpag refers to a superstitious practice that is often observed after attending a wake or funeral. The belief behind pagpag is that when you leave a wake or funeral, you should not go straight home. Instead, you should make a detour or visit another place before heading back to your own residence. The reason for practicing pagpag is rooted in the belief that spirits or negative energies may follow you home from the wake or funeral. By going somewhere else first and shaking off these spirits, you can prevent them from lingering or causing harm in your own household. People who practice pagpag might stop by a store, a restaurant, or the church before returning home. Some may even go to great lengths to take a different route or make several stops to ensure they have fully rid themselves of any unwanted spirits. The practice of pagpag is more prevalent in traditional Filipino communities, where superstitions and beliefs about the supernatural still hold significant influence. However, it's important to note that not all Filipinos practice pagpag, and beliefs may vary among individuals and regions. It's worth mentioning that the practice of pagpag should not be confused with the term's other meanings. In a different context, pagpag can also refer to leftover foods.
Pagpag. Y'all, I might have to start doing some pagpag myself. But yeah, guys, these are some of the most creepy and scary TikToks that you'll be able to find on the internet. If you like the content, don't forget to subscribe, turn your notification bell on, and until next time, YouTube, peace.